Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. I'm Haris. So welcome to this session. So as you can see on the screens, agenda of this session is choosing the right career, right company, and the career path. I was thinking how should I go about this topic, and then I basically thought of things which I think if someone had told me when I was graduating or when I was early in my career, what are the sort of things that would help me significantly. So I've tried to compile those items. And also, um, um, also I think a lot of things in this talk are kind of opinionated because it's not very crystal clear when you talk about joining the right company, what is that right company or right career, because every person is different and a lot of things are uh, for some people certain things are more valuable than others, so it's kind of opinionated topic. But I would like to share my thoughts and advice. And another thing I have tried to done in this talk is try to do in this talk is not to give you a very specific answer. What what are the set of companies which are right companies, or what is the career which is right career? But what I will try to give you in this talk is a framework of thinking, a kind of mental model through which you can navigate through your career. And whether you are in computer science, or although this event is heavily centered towards computer science, but even if you are from other professions, what is the right mindset, or what are the thinking tools you can have in order to navigate or in order to answer these questions, like what is the right company and career path. So let's get started. Before starting, I would like to say that although it's a virtual event which has many positive sides, like I don't have to and you don't have to commute, and we can all attend while sitting from our home, but also the virtual events have a downside that I don't get to see the audience, whether I'm getting them bored to death, or they're sleeping, or they are really excited and resonating with my image. So it's kind of difficult in the virtual event. So I would highly encourage you to use the comment section and Q&A section to share your thoughts, and I would like to answer any questions you might have at the end. So with that, let's get started. So a bit about myself. I graduated from FAST Islamabad in 2009, and I, immediately after that, I joined a company called Bentley Systems in Islamabad. I worked there for 4 years, and it's a big company, 4,000, 5,000 people company. But generally, bigger companies tend to get a bit slower. So I wanted to join something exciting, so some small company, some startup where things are relatively fast paced. So in 2013, I joined eMamba as fifth engineer, a senior backend engineer, and um, since then I have been with eMamba. It has been really exciting journey so far, and I have helped the people, have helped the company grow to more than 150 plus people. So this is a bit of intro about myself. So I have divided my talk into two sections. First, I will talk about choosing the right career, and in the later part, which is relatively smaller part, where I would like to cover how to choose the right company. And again, without answering any question, any specific things, I would like to give the mental model or how you should think about the career and the right company. So assuming most of you are from the computer science background, but as I said earlier, I have tried to many things which I'm going to explain here will apply to other professions as well, with slight modifications in the content, but the ideas will remain the same. So when we are graduating, or when from a computer science degree, maybe you are a batch of 200 people who are graduating with a CS degree. The most fundamental thing we know is that we are going to get into software development career. But not everyone, even after having a CS degree, likes the programming and coding equally, right? I have my friends who graduated with me, but they found out, even though they had a degree, that they particularly don't like to build the whole career around writing software, because everyone is different and everyone has their own priorities. So one of the fundamental points I would like to share is that nowadays, so things are different nowadays. When I was graduating and what where industry is right now, so it's pretty clear that software is not only about programming and coding, although it is one of the fundamental parts. But it is not necessary that even if you want to build a career out of computer science, that you need to do the coding, right? So it's important to understand that building software is a lot of teamwork, and it although coding is one important part, but you have people who specialize in how to get that piece of code into at the hands of the user who can actually play with it, and deployment and stuff. You have people who are thinking about what is the right thing to build and what to build, and more importantly what not to build. And you have specialized people who think how to best present the information to users so that most of the user can easily consume it without any problem. So when you are visiting a website or mobile app or anything, you read some text, right? So headings, you have long paragraphs. Some content writer must have worked very hard to write all that information in a crisp manner. So the whole idea I'm trying to convey here is that even if you have a CS degree, you don't necessarily have to build the entire career out of coding and programming. So building software is a team effort, and it requires many roles, many different hats, and you can be good at any of those, one of those or multiple of those, and build an entire career around that. So this is the first advice I would like to share on how you should think about building your career. The next point I would like to mention is the specialization. So increasingly, again, it is a slightly opinionated view, but increasingly the demand of specialization is really on the rise in the field of computer science, and maybe in other fields as well. And what do I mean by specialization? Let me explain with the help of a quick example. So let's say brakes of my cars are not as spontaneous and responsive as I want them to be. So I have two choices. I'll probably first go to a general purpose mechanic who, if the problem is simple enough, would be able to solve my problem with a very little cost. But if I want more permanent solution, or my solution requires more in-depth knowledge about braking systems, and I need someone who is top of the line, then probably I would be better by going to some specialist, braking specialist. And although he or she would charge top dollar, but he and she would be able to solve my problem for in the permanent basis. Same is the case with software building. It was not true 10 years ago, but now if you look at different job portals, you see positions like front-end engineer, back-end engineer, people who specialize in building dashboards, frameworks, visualizations, people who are very good at programming languages like Python, Golang, who build back-end systems, or Java. Similarly, you have people who build integration systems and process a lot of data, people who talk to customers and build solutions for them, specifically in order to help them adopting different systems. So the point is that as the world is more and more going towards specialization. So as early as in your career, if you are able to figure out what kind of specialization you are interested in, you are passionate about, what are the things where your strengths lie and you are also passionate about, as soon as you find out, then you can start to tilt your career specific to that specialization, because world values specialization a lot, and you have far better chances of building your brand and speciality around that specific specialization. So this is my second advice. The third thing is to keep in mind that in your professional life, you will be working within teams, you will be working within a company, within a business, you will be talking to customer, you will be talking to different stakeholders, you will be managing your career, right? And even if I talk about outside of work life, you will be obviously, we all are part of some families, we have certain obligations and certain responsibilities, then you have friends, you have health, and there are so many aspects which even I have not mentioned here. And you will be able to manage really well all these annotations that are associated with you far more better if you really understand who you are. And what do I mean by you really understand who you are? What I mean is you understand what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what are you are good at, what is something you really hate and you don't want to do, right? More importantly, how do you learn, how do you not learn? So these are very fundamental questions with which many people, unfortunately, even later in their careers, they don't realize. And the sooner you are able to answer these questions, the better you will be able to manage your career. Because keep in mind, generally, successful career means playing on your strengths. You can reach only so far by overcoming your shortcomings. You really can build your career successfully if you are focusing on your strengths and playing on your strengths. And for that, it really matters a lot. How much do you know about yourself and about your strengths and weaknesses? And I would highly recommend you to read this article, "Managing Oneself." It's by Peter Drucker. It should not be more than 30 or 40 minutes read. And I would even say that mark in your calendar, read it after every 6 months, and it will help you see yourself, and it will help you answer a lot of questions about yourself, and that will eventually help you navigate your career by knowing yourself well. So the next point I would like to make is that at every part of career, we are making decisions, what to focus on, what to let go, what to not to focus on, and things like that. But we have to keep in mind that world around us is continuously changing, right? So no one knew the COVID would be here. No one knew that remote work will be so fundamental to what we are doing nowadays. So it's very good to have goals in every stage of your career, even if you are fresh grad, 2 years experience, 5 year experience, or doesn't matter where you are in terms of your career. It is very important to have goals, but don't be rigid because the world around us is continuously changing. So I would advise you to have a strategy where you decide certain goals for maybe 6 months or 1 year, execute on those goals. After 1 year, review the progress and make the adjustments, whatever have been your accomplishments and whatever you failed in. I'm sure failure tells you a lot about lessons you should have learned. So make sure you are iterating. It's an iterative process that should be in your career cycle. After every 6 months, after every 1 year, you need to iterate. You need to make sure that you are constantly evolving. You're seeing what is working for you. You're seeing and noticing what is not working for you, so that you can optimize towards the career success. So it's a continuous iterative process that will go throughout your life. A lot of people come to me and say the statement, "I want to do masters." So I would like to touch upon this as well. So sure, when I ask them, "Okay, cool, you want to do masters, but why?" And many people don't have any crisp answer to that. So my only recommendation is be very sure why you want to do masters, right? If you are working, for example, in distributed systems and you really like concurrency problems, synchronization problems, timing problems, things like that, then it makes sense to do masters in maybe distributed systems, so that you can really you really, first of all, understand that space deeply and solve some critical problems. Similarly, if you want to remain in academia, then doing a master's in PhD or postdoc will definitely help. Similarly, if you just want to get exposure of how different culture works, how different people think, and you want to build a network, that is very valuable. So all these are good reasons of doing masters. Even some people want to relocate, and masters is one way to do it. So make sure you have a very good answer why you are doing masters, and probably just getting a degree is probably not the best one. So another advice, if you want to do masters, make sure you understand why. It's kind of self-explanatory, but it's very important in your career that whatever mistakes your past people who are similar to you with similar ambitions have made in the past, it doesn't make sense to repeat them, right? So if you can be more efficient and intelligent and mindful of the journey you are taking, and who are the people who have been already through that journey, in order to not make those mistakes again. So it really helps. And in order to do that, try to find a mentor who understands your goals, who understand where you want to go, and maybe it's best if he or she has already done that, so that they can guide you. And it's not only that, but also make sure that you give back and you continue that cycle. So people who are following you, you are able to mentor them as well. Um, so the last part of the career section I would like to touch upon is around some general advice. So if in whatever part of your career, if you are at a point where no problem is challenging and every problem that is coming towards you is very trivial and you know the solution out of the bat, this is one example of being in a comfortable position where nothing is exciting you or nothing is keeping yourself you on your toes. So it's probably not a good idea to be in that place. In your career, you need to remain on edge and to be able to challenge yourself at every moment. So make sure you are in an environment where you are getting challenged. Importance of EQ in academia and in university, we'll talk a lot about IQ, but make sure you understand what EQ is, because it makes a significant difference in where you will end up in your career. What to say, when to say, how to say, what not to say are really important in your career, and not a lot of emphasis is put in this part, especially in universities and even in some professional environments. Then putting thought into work is something, whatever you are doing in your life, in your career, whatever problem you're solving, you will get far ahead by just simply taking a step back and thinking, what however I'm solving this problem, can I do it better? Is there any efficient way of doing it? Is there any way to do it this in less time? Are there people who have already solved this problem? This might sound very fundamental and common sense to you, but be sure that many people in their professional environment do not do this. So put thought into work. Make sure you are constantly optimizing your work, and it will take you very forward in your career as compared to your peers. Then you should and you must understand the concept of compound effect. Just do a bit of Google search. A simple example I would share is that uh, um, even if, let's say, you are spending 20 minutes a day in increasing your knowledge and learning something new, if you accumulate that in a year, you would have gone a long way. So don't understand the power of small habits done in a regular manner. That's very important for your career. And last but not least, invest in your professional network, help others without any reward expectations, and you will be surprised how many new opportunities and ideas you will get from just by helping others with no reward expectation, and it will take you a long way. So this was the first part around career, and again, idea is to so I see the question. So let me address that. How to determine the right career path, the way I see it. So it's a long read. I'll try to answer that. The gist of question is that how do I break into a new industry, right? So I think in today's day and age, where there are a lot of courses online, where even if you are not in an industry, first of all, you can at least learn the basic fundamentals around any new profession you want to get into, especially if you have some IT background and you want to get into project management. Obviously, it's difficult because you don't have relevant experience, but it's not impossible. So there are certification courses you can do so that you can at least get an entry level job. Or another way could be that even if you have an you as I said, there are many roles in that are involved in software development. So even if you find out I can achieve or target this particular role, just try to get into that door. And once you are in, then you can see what are other opportunities available, and try to see what is the minimum viable step you can get attention of that company and role in. So it will definitely require some effort at your end to cover those bases. But try to see what is the minimum step through which you can get in, and then after that you prove what else you can do and you are capable of. This is kind of a generic advice I have. So coming back to choosing the right company, and I see other question as well. I will try to answer those questions at the end. Let me complete the agenda first, and then I can answer the question at the end. So choosing the right company. So my first advice, which is kind of related to the previous question as well, is to join a growing company. And let me explain why am I saying that. So if you are early in career and you know exactly where you want to be in your career, for example, programming is your passion and you want to spend whole your career, you know it in the programming field. So it makes sense to join a company that is really specific to that particular domain or particular area and help you grow in your career. But there are many people who do not really know what they are good at, and they are not sure whether something they fancy they will even be good at it or not. So that's why I suggest people to join a growing company. Why do I say that? Because when a company is growing and they are in need of more expertise, more people, there are a lot of hats to wear. So even if as I said in this slide, that even if you join as a software developer in one of those companies which are growing, there is there is a huge probability and possibility that you will get a chance to hear heart of maybe talking to customer and maybe help deciding what product should be built on, what feature to add or not, and maybe comment on how the user experience design should look like. So when you join a growing company, you get a lot of opportunities on not only specific to your area and domain, but also whatever is happening around you. So this gives you a chance to basically see what you are really good at. Maybe you are not good at coding, but you are good at product definition or project management, and then you can build the whole career around it, which you never even thought of. So it's a very good idea to join a growing company to figure out, because you will get a lot of opportunities and it will help you figure out what you are good at, and it will open then it will help you build a successful career. But keep in mind, whenever you are joining a company, you are not only joining a company. There is a vision you are joining for, whatever that vision is for that company, and you will be part of that vision. Then there is a culture you are joining, how people interact with each other within the teams, how teams work with each other, how the whole company treat one another, what is their values, who is the leadership, and what is their vision for the company, what kind of managers does that company have, and how passionate about the employees those managers are in taking their careers to next level. So keep in mind, when you're joining a company, it's not about joining a company, it's also about joining a culture that exists within that company. And it is important because you will be part of that culture, and you will take consciously or unconsciously many decisions around that culture. So it's important to understand that, and one of the best ways to do that is to understand what is the culture of that company and how that works, is to find an alumni or senior person who is already working within that company, so that you can ask them their personal opinion, why they are still working in that company, what do they like, what do they not like. So use your alumni and network and seniors before joining a company to find more about that company, their culture and their practices, and they can give you first-hand personal experience, and it can help you a lot in joining a good company and avoiding a bad company. Last point around choosing the right company is define your criteria. So everyone is different, right? For many people, there are financial constraints they must fulfill, right? For some people, it is important what is the culture of company, what is timing, how flexible they are. For some people, it is about learning opportunity. They say, I don't care about the money, I care about the kind of learning environment I am getting into, for at least for initial years. Similarly, for some people, it makes sense when they are making an impact and how they are changing the world. And for some people, it matters how stable is the company, how stable is the paycheck, and whether what is the chance of company finding people due to whatever reason, right? So there are many criteria, and some are here, but there can be many. So whatever company you are deciding for, make sure that you have that criteria. So first of all, if you're not getting a job anywhere, and so join the first company you get offer from. That's simple and plain. But if you have a choice where you are getting good offers from different companies, then make sure you make a criteria and you match any company against that criteria, to make sure that you try to optimize the variables that you value, and it won't be same for everyone. So make sure you do your due diligence before joining a company of what matters to you and how that company can help you fulfill those criterias. So that's it from my side on the career and the company. And now I would like to answer any questions you might have. Okay, so we have a question. So, what will be the best position for a CS fresh grad who is more interested towards business? So, this is a good question. I would say if you join a company which is which is still defining a product, where you get a chance to see how the product level decisions are made, how do they define their customers and their needs, and how much customers are willing to pay, and how you are going to go through the customer acquisition process, how you are going through the market, going to go through the marketing, whether it is plain old marketing, social media marketing, or thing like that. But try to join a startup which is still defining their product and their customers and their users and those kind of profiles. This will help you in going through that cycle of understanding how businesses work, what are the constraints, what are the financial side of things, what is the demand supply side of things, and different concepts. So try to join a startup or a product company where they are still trying to figure out what to sell and how to sell. So another question: the main challenge is to get in. Everyone asks for relevant experience. So yes, it is true that everyone asks for experience, because you have to see from the company's perspective as well, right? So it's also a matter of supply and demand. If whatever quality and whatever value you are bringing to that company, it's there are a lot of people available who already have that relevant experience. So what is in it for the company? You have to see from company's point of view as well, what is in it for the company to hire you instead of person who is already has that relevant experience, right? So you have to see from the company's perspective as well. But the main point is, now you have the chance to stand out in front of company. If you can prove in any way, whether you have done some homework, what they are doing, and how you can add value, and if you can think about and see something which they are not thinking about. So you need to stand out from the crowd because you lack the experience, and maybe probably there are people who already have that experience. So you have to be creative, you have to think how to stand out, and then send a very custom message that I can help you in this specific way, although I don't have the relevant experience, but I know what I'm talking about, right? So it makes a interesting pitch, which then there is a high probability you will be able to hear back from the companies. And trust me, we get really excited when we see someone who has done their homework before applying and know exactly how they can help us. Question on criteria: how far into the process you can still consider things like, is this role a fit for me? So so it's a interesting question, and it's a lifelong question, because uh, uh, because even if you talk about business development, you talk about project management, you talk about product definitions, there are different aspects to these, and you never know what things click to you, right? So the best idea is to try different things, but if you have tried something for 6 months and a year, and you are still not getting good at it, and you are not getting good feedback, and you are not finding a passion in that particular field, then probably it's a good chance that uh, maybe it's not your passion. But also try to find the right mentor who maybe help you in improving your weaknesses, and maybe talking to mentors help you see a different perspective of the same things. So make sure, I think it also depends on your context. So kind of my generic advice is to try different things for a while, try to get mentorship and different angles about that thing, and then decide if you want to switch, because obviously it has an associated time cost as well. You can't just keep on jumping every 6 months and 6 years, because it is a lot of time hit you are getting. So any other questions? All right, so that's it from my side, and thank you. I'll feel free to reach out through LinkedIn or haris@emama.com if you have any questions or you want to further talk. Thank you. Bye.